Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Startup Junkies podcast. Whether you're watching us on YouTube or you're listening to us wherever you get your podcast, we thank you first and foremost for tuning in. But like, share, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your family, coworkers, your mother-in-law to tune into the Startup Junkies podcast. We're excited today to, I'm Caleb. Excuse me, I almost skipped ahead. I'm Caleb with Startup Junkie. I'm joined by my co-hosts, Davis and Jeff. How's it going, guys?
It's going good.
Yeah, I'm a lost son of the Jameson family. I never told you that, as you can tell by all my family members here.
It's your bloodline.
It's your bloodline.
It's in your blood.
I've got a few cousins too. Captain
meet
Morgan,
the relatives.
Jim Beam, Jack Daniels.
I think we all got a little Jameson.
I like your family reunions. I bet.
It's a lot of fun.
But we're excited today to have with us Vance Reavie of Junction AI. Junction AI is a SaaS platform that offers AI analytics for brands. It's much more than that, obviously, but I'm not going to say any more. I'm going to let you talk about it. But Vance is a Fuel alum, and he's a friend of Startup Junkie, and we're glad to have you here.
Thank you very much. I'm really excited to be here, guys, and really appreciate the opportunity. And the drink, too.
A new recruit into NWA, too,
It's
right?
true. I'm new to NWA. I moved in last weekend into Bentonville. So, after a few months after the accelerator ended, I kept coming up every week or every month. I'd come up for a week or two and just kept really loving it and really enjoing it. So I'm resident now.
Fantastic.
Reeled him back in.
Yeah, exactly.
That's fantastic.
Although if this weather keeps up, I don't know. Seriously, come on.
Sitting here March 31st and it was 38 degrees and snowing.
Wait
a minute.
Like, what's going on?
No, this is not Alaska.
Yeah, we're spring. We're spring. Please.
Ready for baseball weather and fishing weather and drinking beers outside weather.
Yep.
Generally
Patio.
speaking.
Yep.
You want to give us the origin story? Give us this is one of the ways we like to kick it off. Roll back for us.
Sure. Well, Junction AI actually is a result of a pivot only about a year and a half, not even 2 years ago. I mean, the COVID pivot that just about everybody went through.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But before that, we launched an app in the market. It was really focused on travel and understanding, delivering, I guess, things to do locally around you based on looking at imagery and thinking, personalizing it to what you do or what you like. So if you're at 2nd Street and whatever, cross street, it knows that I like running, I like craft cocktails, and I like, a pool party or whatever it is. And we could serve up that marketing image. Mm-hmm. And, we really focused in on that traveler for that. But we mounted a huge amount of data from that. So, we didn't get into the AI game thinking, AI is so cool and it's a buzz thing, let's get in there and then, use that. But we just had this mountain of data and we're like, well, what can we do with this data? We have to pivot and no one's traveling. So where are we going to go with this data? We looked at, how advertisers work and marketing works in that sense and thought there's a lot more to this. Like we can do a lot more out of all this unstructured data, but it's really hard and difficult for a retailer or an e-commerce manager or a marketer to think, how do you go across thousands of images on social or, on Amazon, all those other products? How do you make sense of all that manually? You can't. So we thought, well, hey, actually, that is what AI is good for. AI machine learning. That's a job made for that kind of tool. Crunch all that stuff and, bring up those insights so that then the business people can do what they need to do and have success. So that's where we came from. Along that path, what was interesting, and I mean, you guys see this all the time in your work with startups, you find product market fit, or at least you find initial product market fit, and you're always working on that. And we started talking to different business people out there who were interested in our services, and they were like, yeah, but how did you get an AI, the app we developed, how did you get the infrastructure? How did you get that developed to use AI ML? And it started to occur to us, our product is actually the platform we built that allowed us to build that app. It wasn't the app itself. And that was sort of, you get those, it's cliche, but you get the light bulb moment and it's like, honestly, I could just see it above my head. And
realize that was a much bigger opportunity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You keep hearing all these companies you talk to and they've either tried an AI ML project and it's failed or they never got it to production. Just it didn't work, or they've outsourced the model development. But what do you do with the model? You still have to implement to use it, So kind of realize our platform that we put so much time and energy into building, that's our product. And so we've been selling that since.
Awesome. That's great.
And that's where we really connected in with Fuel and why we went to Fuel, because we wanted to look at how we could, leverage that pivot into that platform space and work in that market.
And then and what impact did participation in Fuel have on the company? So you came
And for those of you listening that aren't familiar, Fuel is the AI machine learning accelerator program that Startup Junkie facilitates. Context there.
That's right.
And I wasn't paid to bring it up even. That's amazing.
Unlike our other
in whiskey.
unpaid, but hopeful sponsors, right?
This is good.
Just like if we had a bottle of Junction AI there.
I'll get the branding people on it.
Very good.
Yeah, no, Fuel came around at a really good time for us because we were in this pivot. And I guess like anybody, running a business, you kind of think, does anyone really care what I'm doing? Does it make sense? Am I crazy to think this matters as much as I do? Because I live and breathe it every day. I can't help, the moment I wake up, I'm in this. The moment I go to sleep, I'm in this. So I thought, well, let's apply. And we spoke to Tom and we spoke with Taylor, and I was really impressed with both of them right away, impressed with the idea of the program. It wasn't a program to teach you how to pitch and go get VC money. It's a program to teach you how to get into enterprise business.
Enterprise ready, right?
Yeah,
figure out
enterprise ready.
how to dance with the elephant.
Exactly. And we figured, that was the way we had to go. We had to understand, does what we do matter to the enterprise? And if it does, then how are we going to get in there and sell it and make a success of it? So that's why we wanted to go, and I was blown away by the program.
Awesome. Very good.
And you talked about like that pivot that you went through during COVID. I know that some founders get super married to what and obviously passionate about what they're doing. What was that like for you internally, knowing that this model, this idea that you had developed over time, you were going to have to just completely deviate from that?
Yeah, it's hard. I think I kind of remember at one moment we had a team meeting, and I just had this sense that I was kind of wondering, like, how are we getting through this pivot? Like, how are we adopting what we're doing now and moving the BD sales team, how to get them to focus on where we're going from where we were? And I could see we were still doing meetings and talking, pitching to potential clients using our old language or some of our old value props. And I thought, well, what's wrong? There's something wrong here. Like, we're not making this pivot happen. And I kind of realized it was me, because I was still attached to the app that we were doing, or the business we were doing before. I was still so embedded in that. And, I'd spent so much time and money on that. And personal energy is, you guys know with entrepreneurs, that I realized I had this baggage, so much baggage. And that's about the time Fuel came along. And, after a couple sessions there, we had a team meeting, and I said, all right, everybody, I'm going to start here. I have been dragging along all this baggage of what we did pre-pivot, and you guys are all getting affected by it. Every one of you are still suffering from that. So you know what? Drop it. I'm letting go of it. It's gone. No more of this baggage. We're on this new path. This is our path to success. Everyone's got to get on board, and I got to lead, and I got to be the first one on board. Because if I keep bringing along the old baggage, they're not going to change.
It'll never go away.
Yeah,
right.
And it was like a cathartic moment. I felt like this weight was lifted, and I was like, I'm free to be creative again. I'm free to lead and go in the direction I want to go. So that was really exciting, and I think the team reacted incredibly well too. They felt clear and focused again, and like they could see a path again too. They weren't like, which way are we going? Is this? Is a bit of this? And you're never successful.
You really can't be half in.
No, you can't. No.
Focus. No. They say the top three things that typically cause new ventures to fail are: one is you're building something that no one wants. Two is you've hired wrong. You've got people in the wrong seats. And the third one is a lack of focus.
Yeah.
And all three of those can be equally deadly.
Yeah.
So that's great. It's great insight.
Yeah. And I've been so fortunate with my team. They have been so good at being willing and adaptable to change, flexible to change, but also leading me to that change too, and reminding me if they see me slipping back. I mean, my senior team, Bob and Melly, they're experienced like I am, 20 years in tech, and they've worked for so many other companies too. But just keeping that clarity and keeping me clear, you need that. You need, it can't just be one person. You've got to have a team that has that clarity and also jumping in like that.
Now that you've got this thing on kind of a trajectory, and you've got a focus, and you've got some new enterprise clients that are coming on, what's winning look like in 3 to 5 years? Where do you see it all going?
That's a great one. I play with that every day, but I really see winning as growing ourselves. We do have investors in the company, so I clearly want to get them a very good return on their investment. And I can do that by staying focused on what we do as an AI as a service company and becoming very good at, the best at what we do and where we're going, and innovating in that space, growing it, obviously growing the company substantially, growing our client roster, but becoming kind of almost the go-to brand in that space. That when people think, hey, we need to do demand generation forecasting or understanding, product marketing forecasting, they think of us.
Right.
And So I want to, get us to that point where we're noted as that leader, but also not just from the technology sense, but from the people that people want to work with. And we get that a bit already in our company. And this is something I've found in my whole career. I've always acted as that bridge between business front-end people and the tech people. I can speak enough of both languages to be annoyingly dangerous to both. Don't ask me to code much, but I used to do a little, right? But, so we get this feedback already that, wow, when we talk with your team, this is the first time we've talked to techies, but they understand us or they talk our language. Yeah. And we don't feel embarrassed that we don't know what this word means or whatever. So that's where I want to see us in 3 to 5 years. We've demystified all this. We've made it easy for the e-commerce manager or the marketer or the replenishment manager, whatever it is, to talk about how they can use AI to make their lives, their job, their supply chain, whatever it is, better.
Approachable, so they don't have to roll up their MID, PhDs in data science to have any kind of decent conversation.
Exactly. Yeah. And in the 3 to 5 years, I hope we're working with a number of national retail chains and national, e-commerce marketplaces, and I'd like to, make sure that we're expanding internationally because I think there's a lot of innovation happening everywhere in the world.
Absolutely.
And my life's been all about living, around the world, so I see that opportunity. And
where were you born? I think that's an interesting story.
I was born in Saskatchewan in Canada. And then when I was a kid, I was an exchange student in New Zealand for a year, and I fell in love with New Zealand.
So you were around all the Commonwealth, right?
Yeah. And then after I finished uni in Ottawa, I went back to New Zealand. Yeah. And then I started my first business there. Yeah. A web design and development consultancy.
It's a great country.
Oh, it's such a good country. Yeah. And, beautiful place. And then sold that, and then moved to Australia, became an Australian. Lived in Brisbane for quite a long time, which is where I met,
So you could fake your way through any of the cool accents.
Oh, excellent. You give me enough drink here and I'll take any accent you want. Yeah, any one of those I'll bring on board. Yeah. That's depends who I'm with.
That's great. That's
still working on the Arkansas one.
Yeah. You know what? After 2 years in Texas, one day I was out with some friends at, sort of a drinking event, and I found myself saying y'all. I did a double text. What just happened? I'm saying y'all.
It sticks to you after a while. You can't get away from it. There's no doubt.
Well, let's get into that. So you were in Austin, is that correct, for 2 years, being an Austinite who also moved to Northwest Arkansas. What was that transition like? How's it been? What are pros and cons?
Well, I think I'm the one that started the hashtag New Austin for this area.
Somebody's going to borrow. I think they put that on a billboard.
Yeah, exactly. Sported, maybe.
All the stuff you want, none of the stuff you don't.
Yeah, none of the traffic, and the Mopac being jammed. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's you and I had some interesting talks about this, and it's the thing I loved about Austin when I first moved there was the closeness of the startup community and the fact that there were no walls. It didn't seem there were walls, at least. It was very collaborative and open and supportive and dynamic.
Sure.
And I'd never heard of this part of the country before coming to Fuel. In fact, I'd never traveled here. And I think I flew in at midnight. You land at the airport there, and
you're taking back roads all the way. You're like passing
these many cows outside an airport.
The first sign of civilization are these massive distribution warehouses for Walmart. And I was like, where am I? And did I take one step too far in life? I don't live with regrets, but did I go one step too far this time?
It's part of the test we put everybody through. If you get through that, it's like what's inside is awesome.
Yeah. The next morning, I walked downtown to downtown Bentonville, where we were at the WeWork lab there, and people were talking to me and saying hi, and it was so friendly. And then you start discovering there's amazing arts, there's amazing people who have lived all around the world here. They've had experiences from everywhere. The business community is supportive. I mean, it's not 6 degrees of separation. It's like literally one.
Yeah.
You lined up for peaches at the farmer's market, and there's so-and-so from whatever brand or manager of this, division, whatever, right?
So, a lot of proximity to people that you really want to know.
Yeah. And when you leave for a meeting, you only need to leave 2 or 3 minutes ahead of time, and you're still there early.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Which is great.
That's exactly right. People complain about the traffic on 49. It's like, it took me 30 minutes instead of 25 to go 30 minutes.
Yeah, right.
It took me 6 hours around the Capitol Beltway when I lived back in the DC area some days. It's crazy. Yeah. So,
I mean, when we were in Fuel, if you wanted to talk to someone in the business community, it was always just, I want to talk to this person and meet this person. Great. The next day you're meeting them or talking to them. There was no attitude about, we'll see if we can fit you in their schedule. Right. Maybe next year or whatever. Just like that, you're in.
That's great.
That's a great community.
You talked about, I guess, here, you met your team in Australia. You said, how did you go about building that team? Jeff mentioned, hiring is obviously a really important piece because hiring wrong can be devastating. How did you build that team out? What kind of attributes and culture foundational elements did you apply there?
It is a really big challenge. And I've been in business quite a long time as my own businesses, but also as a consultant contractor in enterprise government and that. So I've always been building teams, and it seems I've spent most of my time recruiting a lot of days, it seems. But something that really matters to me is aptitude. People have to have the right attitude, because you can train people to do pretty much anything if you give them the right environment, the right people to work with, mentors, whatever it is. But you got to have an aptitude that you actually want to learn and want to experiment and innovate and sometimes fail, but not get blamed for it. So I guess those are some of the values that I kind of look for. That I look for people that can hold their own, people that I know who are dedicated and passionate about what they do. And that might mean that we sit there and argue for an hour over something that seems ridiculous to argue over, but it's not an argument that we don't get along, or it's not a personal argument. It's just that we're so passionate about what we do. We live and breathe and love what we do. And I also believe that work-life balance is really important. My team, they have families, they've got their own commitments, they're an artist on the side or whatever it is, right? I think it's gotten easier too with the pandemic and people working remotely. It's not about sitting in an office so much anymore. So I think that's been a bit easier, but we take all that to heart. So I try to recruit from that point of view. And, my senior team, Melly and Bob, we've known each other over 20 years now. We all met at a bank back in Brisbane in 2003 or something like that.
Wow.
And, we've been friends and, colleagues ever since. So we don't need to prove to each other anything.
Sure.
We know if one's having a bad day, just having a bad day. That's all it is. There's nothing more. And I think a lot of younger entrepreneurs, maybe in their 20s, and who haven't had that experience, might get a little bit worried about stuff like that.
Sure.
They don't know how to handle that sort of HR issue. But after you've been in it a while and you've hired and fired and made your mistakes, and learned, you kind of come around and realize that, this is the way we all are. We have bad days, and we're going to have a grumpy day, and we're going to have a great day. So
I think some of those HR things that are, some of the companies that I've seen, they don't think about early stages about kind of being informed on that HR perspective and how to approach those issues, because they've only ever been one person, and just the dynamics of having another person there is definitely an experience, I can imagine.
Yeah. And, it's for the entrepreneur, the founder, it's maybe not as scary what we do. We we get ourselves into it, I guess.
Right.
Some of us are quite addicted to this sort of stuff.
No, it's exactly right.
But not everybody else looks at this like that. Startups can be scary to people who are, they got mortgages and kids and all that sort of stuff. This is a pretty wild ride to be on for everybody. Yeah. And it does take, I guess, a little extra sometimes. And that's part of also knowing when to hire, what stage to hire that person at. Maybe they're not right when you've got the team of 5 or 8. Maybe they're going to be right when you've got a team of 20 and you have that more stability.
A little more infrastructure, a little more certainty.
Yeah, they're not going to get a call at midnight because the server's down, or something like that. You have to really pick the right people for the right stage.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Drink time, right?
Pause for
a little Jameson break real quick.
I think it's time for Proper 12.
The Arkansas Inc. podcast provides an in-depth look at the latest industry trends in Arkansas from decision makers, business leaders, and executives. The Arkansas Inc. podcast has focused on a range of business and economic development topics, including small business and entrepreneurship, international business, fintech, workforce development, and community development. Each episode, which are about 30 minutes long, features business leaders and subject matter experts in conversation with knowledgeable members of the AEDC team. Recent guests have included Governor Asa Hutchinson, UAMS Chancellor Dr. Cam Patterson, Conductor Managing Director Dr. Jeff Standridge, and representatives from companies including Amazon, Walmart, IBM, Ozark Integrated Circuits, and more. The goal of the podcast is to help provide more information about Arkansas and its strong business environment, to help business owners and executives make the decision to move to or expand in Arkansas. The Arkansas Inc. podcast is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and other podcast apps. Just search for Arkansas Inc. To learn more or subscribe to Arkansas Inc. podcast, visit arkansasedc.com/podcast. So tell me, you moved here last weekend. Tell me about some of what you're most excited about.
I'm still really excited about this. I've been excited about this since when I first got here, is the interesting depth of talent in the community here from that retail analytics side. I mean, I know a little, obviously working in e-commerce for a long time, I know stuff about it, but why it should never have been a surprise that there'd be that much talent here. You've got the world's largest company in that space here. Yeah. So shocker, no. But it's just, I go to meetings here and I find I am learning so much every time I'm in a meeting. From the people that have worked in this environment here, because all these big brands are here, and Walmart here, and all the supply chain, companies here. I'm just like a sponge at these meetings. I get to learn so much, be it the language or the words they're using that are different maybe than I've used in the past. The parts of the puzzle that make up that whole picture.
Right.
Unless you're deep inside of it, you just don't realize how much there is sometimes. And that's kind of been...
It's definitely its own language.
It is. It's mind-boggling. Yeah. And the complexity is wonderful.
The thing that's also really difficult for a lot of people to comprehend is the amount of scale.
Oh, I was just going to say the scale.
It's. I mean, they're thinking about, when you think about Walmart in particular, and the people that support them, it could be an 11,000 store rollout, right? Yeah. A worldwide rollout, or 3,500 or 4,000 stores in the U.S. So it's just a ridiculous amount of scale.
Yeah, it's. I just don't think you get much opportunity to actually understand or see or witness the scale that people here are living and breathing every day. Yeah, it's mind-boggling. So I'm really grateful for that and really thankful for that. And then the other part of what I love about here is it's just I was surprised at like the fantastic art scene. Crystal Bridges, the Momentary, the live music scene. There's just so much life. It's
getting better all the time.
Yeah, and I mean part of that is of course you've got great professional class here. You've got big companies here. So it brings a lot of that sponsorship money, I suppose, or people interested in, having that opportunity here too. So that's also been, great finding here.
You were supposed to say coming in and drinking with us, hanging out.
And best of all is coming here to Startup Junkie and having a drink or two.
Startup Junkie's podcast was the high point. Right?
I've been on the list for this forever, and I finally got in, months after meeting you guys. Like, geez, that lineup was so long, and I had to. How many interviews did you put me through?
Yeah,
incredible. That reference check was mad.
And if you slap Caleb, the ratings will go up.
Really? Damn, I'm in. And then what is it?
Oh, Caleb's our in-house comedian. That's the guy right there.
I'm excited about that.
Yeah, the crawl is coming back, and it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, because I heard last year you guys weren't able to do it because of the pandemic, so I've been waiting for it. Yeah,
and that was one that actually two former members of the team, Haley Allgood and Michael Eisman, went down to South by Southwest. This is a bunch of years ago, and they said, we need to do a startup crawl in Fayetteville, in Northwest Arkansas, and we're like, okay, let's try it, and it became a thing. And actually, the one that we held here in 2019 was bigger than the one that occurs in Kansas City, which is a metro area that's three times as big.
Yeah.
That we love, but we had almost 2,000 people.
That's
here
incredible.
At that time.
They had about 750 for
yeah. So I mean, of course, there's a lot of other stuff to do there, but it's kind of it's sort of a defining celebratory event for the startup scene.
I'm excited about it. I've done it at South by Southwest and really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to this one. And, I think all the other benefits of this community that I was just talking about, that easy, just to engage with people here and meet people. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, and part of the, you think about hypothesis testing, that's the basis of all this kind of stuff we do in startups. So the hypothesis was, will lots of people show up for an all-you-can-drink beer buffet? They cost somewhere between $15 and $30. And it's like, guess what? They will show up. And if there's other creative
music there too,
that's
some free food. Well, all right,
it's amazing.
We're in.
It's a good formula, and it's great. We're looking forward to it. So glad that the area and the world is in a position where we can have it again.
Oh no, it's been one of the nicest things of being able to be back amongst people again.
Yeah.
When I started Fuel back in August last year, that was the first time I was back in a co-work facility with people around. Geez, my heart was just alive again, and my brain was just running again, just to be that creative atmosphere of being around, other entrepreneurs, and I feel not even in the same area.
I feel like you were the first person there, and like the WeWork, like 1 million cups. You were already there.
I was there. Every week, every time. That's my whole thing, though. It's like when I'm there, I stayed the whole time. I lived here the whole time. Except a couple of days when I went home, but I was like, no, I'm coming here to live it. I'm going to be part of it. And that's always my thing too. I take every intro and I take there's an event on tonight. I'm going. I'll be there.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome.
That's definitely the way to approach it too. You know, it's I think it's an interesting time just overall for the whole world kind of coming out of this pandemic, and it's just very exciting.
Yeah, it
absolutely.
Is. It's good. I was just having a coffee with the interns that we got through the University of Arkansas, which, shameless plug.
Was that the venture intern?
Yeah,
program?
incredible program.
It's a great program.
Shout out to Sarah Goforth and Deb Williams and the team over there. They do an amazing job.
That team do an incredible job. They make it so easy and they support you so well. And the quality of the interns has been incredible. We were just having a coffee with the two of the data science ones that we have on our team, and both of them are fantastic. Sarah and Daniel, really just blown away by them. And it was just interesting that, this is they're going into their first jobs and they've never worked inside an office. This is just like
everything is Zoom and remote.
It's just like, wow. Yeah. Okay. Totally different generation change there. You have the same, I guess.
It's definitely been interesting to experience pandemic throughout college. You got, basically 2 years doing the whole Zoom remote thing, but it does give a lot of the younger talent a lot of drive. I feel like to get into the office and really make a change, or really get outside their comfort zone or grow. So it's very
I think if we can get the hybrid thing working well, where they get the thing that I really look back, and I was telling them when I started my career, a long time ago, age myself, but I was thinking, I was telling them my first, supervisors or bosses, they made me who I am today. Like they took me under their wings. They mentored me. They helped me through those mistakes you make when you're new at any job, and you're going to make them, and everyone does. And they were kind. They were patient. They set me on a path and taught me so much. And I just thought, well, I really hope that, we can get into the situation soon again where people do have that connection again. They're maybe not in the office every day, but they're there with those senior office members who have some of that experience and can share that. And
it makes a big difference.
Yeah,
Super
it does.
valuable. It makes a big difference.
Yeah, I can't imagine not having it now.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, definitely. That's a huge element. I think that was probably lost in those iterations of the program where they were entirely virtual, not being able to actually have that conversation in person with the intern and kind of explain why we're doing X, Y, Z, and kind of what they're dealing with and how we can kind of come together on certain things. So it's definitely a missing piece. And our venture intern, we have an venture intern as well. We probably wouldn't have Startup Crawl if she wasn't project managing it.
It's incredible.
Frankly, honestly.
Well, despite soaking up that mentor kind of relationship, what advice do you have for either younger talent coming out of university or a younger entrepreneur starting a business or thinking about it? What would you have to say to them?
I just was telling them, I said, don't worry so much about what your first roles are going to be. Just go and get something to do and interesting teams to work with, and get some experience of different types of experience from different types of companies, whatever it is. Could be government, could be small company, could be large company. Just go get something, and don't worry too much that it's the perfect match for you, the perfect subject matter, because your first years, you're really just learning how to be a good
learning how to work, learning how those relationships work.
And then you can start focusing, because what you think you're going to do today, the specialization you're working today, is not going to be what you're doing in 5 years, almost, without a doubt. If it's in technology, the code language are going to change.
They change too quickly.
Yeah,
the pace of change is
So it's just, just don't overstress it. Just go get something. And, in 2 years' time, you might find you're actually working in contracting and, going from contract to contract, which I love doing when I was at that age. And, or others might find the perfect job that they want to keep for a career. And that would be more unusual these days, but, but don't overthink it at the beginning. Just get out there and have some experiences. If you can work for foreign companies or go live overseas and work for a company and, learn what it's like to be in another culture as well. That's also really valuable, because it gives you a different perspective to think about things and ways to approach, innovation as well.
Right. Exposure.
Yeah,
Exposure is everything.
Yeah,
absolutely. No, that's a great answer.
And you think back to my first job out of college, studied journalism. My first job out of college was a reporter for a small town newspaper in my hometown. Nobody could live off of what I was making. No one could. I was living with my parents half the time, and my brother the other half the time. But I went into that role thinking I'm going to take on every responsibility in this building that I possibly can, make myself completely invaluable. And as a result, I probably learned how to do things that I was never intended to do.
Exactly.
And those things that I've learned, just those experiences, have informed so much of what I've done later in life, just jumping in with both feet and saying, inundate me with stuff. So that's great advice.
No, that's exactly it. You did exactly that too. It's precisely the right thing to do, I think. So it can be a little unnerving. You think
even if you're making $10 an hour.
Yeah. Maybe that makes it easier because you really don't have to be that attached. You can go find something else for $10 an hour too. But
yeah, those are some of the values that Caleb here and Jeff have really made a priority, a priority in the office too. And that's something that as a younger professional or upcoming professional can really appreciate. It's just those values. Absolutely.
Yeah. You're lucky. Yeah. It's a fortunate experience for you to have that opportunity.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It makes all the difference because you'll carry that and the lessons you've learned or the learning the approaches that they've taken with you. You're going to repeat those approaches with the first people you hire or your teammates that you start building up when you build your business, I'm assuming.
Right. Absolutely.
You're going to be an entrepreneur, right? The next founder.
Well, I'm working for Startup Junkie. I better be.
You better be. This training's got to go to something.
I got to come back on the podcast at some point. As not a host.
He doesn't get a paycheck until he eventually founds a company.
This place is, it turns out it is kind of a launch pad.
Yeah.
People they either launch into bigger corporate innovation roles or they launch out into other fast moving startups or launch out to do their own thing. So
now that's really exciting too. Like that corporate innovation role that if they're coming up through this environment here, Startup Junkie, like not everyone in these big companies really is trained to know how to implement innovation.
Exactly.
And that sounds stupid to even say, how do we implement innovation?
Yeah.
That sounds like it's kind of a process thing to begin with. But
actually,
the training here would help.
Once you get that sort of agile mindset and that smell of moving at entrepreneur speed and the feel of doing all that. When you go out into a big company, you take that with you. That doesn't get beaten out of it, right? Mm-hmm. You take it with you. And the big companies that are smart embrace that and appreciate that and realize that. And, two alumni from here, Haley Allgood, who is working on digital acceleration for Walmart.
I met her. She's wonderful.
And Ellen Bruni, who's PhD in life sciences, worked for us for a while. She's an entrepreneur. She's now a GM in robotics for Honeywell.
Wow.
And so it serves the skill set well. I mean, the entrepreneurial mindset is useful, whether it's your own company or whether you're working for someone else.
Yeah. The agility you were mentioning, I think that becomes addictive too. Like when you start realizing things can move at that speed, it just seems to build on itself. It's like that snowballing effect or whatever that cliche is, but you get quite addicted to that idea that things can move this fast. And that's a lot of fun and it's exciting and it draws people in. People want to be part of it then when they see this happening because seriously, none of us want to do nothing or just be bored at work or whatever it is. Like we see something exciting happen, you're drawn to those people or that project or that group or team or whatever it is.
Well, and there's, if you let the people that set up the structures and the controls in an organization carry the day every time, then the answer is always we can't.
Yeah.
And internal entrepreneurs and innovators are like, we can.
That's totally it, isn't it?
Sometimes it's like, what rules do we have to break or bend to do it? But they get to we can more quickly, for sure.
I was telling our interns that 2 of my contracting jobs back in the 2000s, I left them, but I was on the moment of them kind of leaving me to having me leave. And it was because I started selling our tech services internally in government and then in this bank. And we started, generating revenue for our area. We weren't supposed to generate revenue. I mean, IT's a cost center. We got in trouble for generating revenue. And I had to sit in front of the general manager and goes, you're a contractor here and you generated X hundreds of thousands of dollars of revenue. Now that's going to come off my budget next year.
We might have to fire you.
Yeah, that's not allowed. You're not allowed to do that. And I'm like, well, why not? The business needed services that we could provide them. They had budget to spend. If we didn't take it in, they were going to take it outside to outside vendors.
Right.
You're just not being agile enough to take that money.
Yeah.
So it was fun. I couldn't help myself.
Wow. Interesting. Interesting mindset difference.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah.
So nobody's leaving Startup Junkie to go take a government job, I don't think.
If they do, then we're going to erase their name out of the no, they never worked here. We never heard of them. We're not sure who that is.
But
I don't think it's possible.
It's just going to be such a big market, though. Like
they could take that job, but they get fired.
Yeah, well, that's it, exactly.
Unless Jeff runs for governor at some point.
Hey, I've always wanted to be a politician. I grew up wanting to be the prime minister. That was the only thing I ever wanted to be until I was about 20. honestly. So
I think you might be an upgrade if you were prime minister in Canada. I know. I'm just saying.
Look, the bar's very low. I shouldn't say that, should I? That was my goal.
He looks like he'd be a fun guy to party with.
Yeah.
Apparently, the pictures make it look like he is in
He's big
the
fan of
non-controversial
costume
moments or snowboarding with. I actually worked in politics for a while and for 2 different prime ministers. I was an intern, but I loved it. It was fascinating, but
it's interesting to see at that level.
Yeah, but
sure,
you get ground down, and it's that inertia.
You realize too, it's a pretty ugly game.
It is really ugly game, and that's why I left it. It got ugly for me at that time, and one day you're in, the next day you're out, and all kinds of reasons why you're out.
Yep.
So it's like that has nothing to do with quality of my work, my dedication, agility, professionalism, anything like that.
Yep.
It's you just rub someone the wrong way one day and you're out of the inner circle.
Yep.
So not putting up with that.
Well, Justin, if you're listening, you don't have to stop listening to Start Junkie podcast.
We like everybody.
Of course, we do.
We're apolitical.
Yeah,
here.
exactly.
We don't want to piss anybody off.
No.
They're all our tribe is innovators and entrepreneurs. We don't care.
That's right.
What side of the political spectrum.
There you go.
That needs to be probably the intro. Regardless of what you may think about Jeff.
You mean disclaimer?
Little disclaimer.
We didn't mean to get into politics, but
sorry. Won't happen again.
It's a Jameson. It's a Jameson.
It is. It's the Jameson.
It is.
The Irish always stir everything up.
Right.
Troublemakers.
on that, I might need.
Is it time to land the plane?
Sure,
so to
sure.
speak?
So Vance, the plane landing question that we always ask our guests is to, if you had the opportunity to go back in time, visit with your younger self, hop in your time machine, go way back. What advice might you give your younger self with the insight that you have now?
Wow, that's a really hard question because I've really tried to live my life to say I'm not going to have regret. I'm just going to go try it, and I'm going to fail, and I'm going to succeed, and who knows what path I'm going to be down or where I'm going to end up. So I've kind of always taken a lot of moments where I'll just step out and go for it, whether it's right or wrong. So I can't really, I'd like to say like push it a little further, like go a little harder, a little more full into it, maybe. But I'm not sure I could have gone much further in that case. I think probably the thing I would have done a little bit more of was maybe surrounded myself a little bit more at that point in my career with more entrepreneurs. We didn't really have I don't know if Startup Junkie existed back in the 2000s. There wasn't something that co-working didn't exist back then.
No, that's right. A lot of the stuff that exists today in ecosystems didn't exist. Certainly didn't exist in the 90s.
Yeah,
when I was running startups, and it's new.
Yeah,
it's the last 20 years ish kind of thing. Last 15 in particular.
Yeah, like I didn't know how to start a company when I did. When I think I was 26 when I started my first one. I didn't know how to start it. I got some advice, but actually this will actually be this will be my advice. Get good advice.
Right.
Don't just use your friend's lawyer or your friend's accountant because they're cheap.
Yeah.
Go out there and spend the money on the right lawyer and find the right one. Go and interview them. They don't like being interviewed, but trust me, you can. But go get the right advice and even if it costs a little, get the right advice because I think now, when I sold my first company, there was issues with the books and stuff like that. And that's because our accountant really wasn't a good corporate accountant or startup accountant. But, he was cheap and it was easy and didn't seem like a problem then. And then you get into that first sale and you're going like, oh my God, I did not know that was wrong. And, and you got yourself in a bit of, maybe you're getting yourself in trouble. So now I say I take every introduction. There's a reason for that because then I didn't know or didn't have the resources to go out and ask for that advice or find that advice. So go out there. Now it exists.
Get the advice.
Like you guys.
Take advantage.
Yeah,
that's great.
Get out there and get that advice because you're going to need it. And let people, here's my other one. So I'm going to give you another one. I wasn't very good at asking for help, and it's still very hard for me. I've kind of, I'm an independent person. I got to do it myself. Maybe that's an entrepreneur trait, right? It's not a problem to ask for help. It is amazing how many times now when I actually learn and challenge myself to ask for help, and I do a monthly stakeholder newsletter about our company to our shareholders and our stakeholders, anyone that cares about us, I'll make sure you guys are all on that list. And the first two questions in it, or the first two parts of it at the top are asks.
Yeah.
And that made me really uncomfortable, even at my experience now. I got to ask all these people. wow, what a great experience to learn to ask for some help. Because honestly, every time I do, at least every month, 3 people will respond to it.
They want to help, right?
They want to help.
Yeah,
they're like eager to do something.
You've opened the door for it.
Exactly.
They realize you're receptive to it.
Yeah. So don't be shy about asking for help. Get out there and ask for help because people just want to help. It's amazing. So
that's great.
And that's kind of
a great
the premise
answer.
around 1 million cups too. I feel like as an organization is everyone's coming there because of that, because they know there's going to be an ask and they want to be able to contribute in some form or fashion. So
it's such an enjoyable event too. I mean, the diversity of people you have come through there, you learn stuff from them that you didn't know, like different types of businesses or different subject matter areas that, I'm never going to be an entrepreneur in aquaponics like the last time I was there, but wow, I learned so much about it. I was fascinated by the business. Like it's just so exciting.
That must have been aquaponics AI that was there.
Yeah. So, it's great, those events. Cool. Yeah.
Very cool.
But I think you're right. It does make, it puts it in a safe environment where you can offer advice, you can ask for help, and there's no stigma with pretending.
And it coming in. It's that, it's like it coming in that this is going to be an opportunity.
Yeah, lower the wall and...
It's not going to be Shark Tank.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not going to be an angry bald guy there saying you're dead to me.
Yeah, exactly. That's right.
Your cockroaches.
I hate that sort of stuff.
It's not going to be that at all.
Yeah, that's awful stuff.
Well, and the other way that the final way that we land the plane is, where can people find out more about Junction AI and you?
You can go to our website, junction.ai. You can hit me up on LinkedIn, Vance Reavie. You can give me a call. You can email me. I'm generally very approachable. This is really early in the morning. But just jump on our website, fill out the contact form, and you'll likely get me responding or John or Brad, one of our team members. And I'm always keen to, like I said, take every introduction, every meeting, have a call, have a chat, a Zoom, whatever it is. And
awesome.
I love talking about what we do at Junction because I'm really proud of what we do and I'm really proud of my team. And I'm super proud of the clients we're working with both here in Bentonville with Nucleus and Amber Engine in Detroit and a few others like that. So I'm really happy to share the experiences we've had learning about AI and how to be successful in it too. So even if you're not ready to jump into an AI project or you just want to learn a little bit more about it, that's what my team are really great at talking about too.
Yeah, that's great. Well, listen, thanks for taking a chance on fuel and coming to the program. And thanks for moving to Northwest Arkansas. We need more people like you and your team here.
Well, we're excited to grow here. We're looking really forward to it. I can hardly wait to. My team are global, so I've been saying after we do our successful race soon, I'm going to have a team meeting here and bring them all into Northwest Arkansas so they can experience how wonderful this place is.
We will break out the mountain bike trails and the Jameson.
Awesome, exactly. I love it. All right, we'll just have a team meeting right here.
Together or separate? What's the
maybe both? Maybe before, maybe after.
We'll just have to get that order of things right.
Exactly. Awesome. Thanks for
thank you very much, guys. I really appreciate being here
Great.
and everything you guys have done for us too, and all the intros you've done, and the being involved in the program as a mentor as well, and helping organize the program and Million Cups. So it's all been made my transition here really super easy and a lot of fun.
Awesome. Great. Very good.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Ecosystem builders, entrepreneurs, chambers of commerce, mayors. If you're interested in taking your economic future into your own hands, we've got a book that can help you. Creating Startup Junkies, Building Sustainable Venture Ecosystems in Unexpected Places is the guide. It's a little bit inspiration. It's a little bit toolkit. What it will allow you to do is take your economic future into your own hands and build a sustainable small business, innovation, and entrepreneurial ecosystem in your backyard. If you'd like to hear more, check out creatingstartupjunkies.com. The Startup Junkie podcast reaches over 100 countries and has had over 100,000 downloads. If you're interested in reaching some of the most motivated and engaged innovators and entrepreneurs on a worldwide basis, give us a shout.